Welcome back, everyone. Going into the second half here of the old drop frames. Ollie, hello, welcome to the show. Zeke, where are we going? What are we doing? What are we talking about? We'll start with you.
Uh, let's start with Cody. You played the Stanley Parable, the release, right?
I did, and real quick, JP, about the thing you asked. Yes, I have.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah.
Uh,
Yes, I just played the Stanley Parable for the first time, like a
Oh,
week
really? Oh,
ago.
wow. Okay.
that game's currently leading my community vote, so I might be playing that at the end of the month. So I'm curious to see, Zeke. You played it, right? That's where
Yep.
this is going. How is it? What'd you think?
It's great.
You replayed it, right? This is your second time.
Yeah. I did the. I
Can I
played the
show
Stanley
footage of
Parable.
this, by the way? Is it what? How do we? Is there? Okay. All right. I didn't want to like. I'll try to find early footage, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll try to find a trailer. I'll do that. I'll just
There
put
you
a
go.
trailer on loop. That's what we'll do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The end is never the end. The end is never the end. It is never the end. Um, no, Stanley Parable is a game that let's see. I played when it came out back in. Let's see, Stanley Parable.
I,
2014
I do
is
that too. Then my VODs come up. That's I just say Stanley
when I
Parable.
first played it. And the thing is, with the Stanley Parable, the first release of it, there was an achievement that says, "Don't play the Stanley Parable for 5 years." And I cheated and got that achievement by changing my computer's time, but I could have gotten that achievement organically because it had been that long since I played it. Um, then I went and played the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe Edition, and it's its own thing. It's a it in my, at least in my Steam library, it stands apart. Like the Stanley Parable and Ultra Deluxe are two separate games, and it's not like a DLC or anything like that.
Hmm.
And they've added a buttload of new content, and it's fantastic. It's got the same voice, obviously the same voice like narrator and stuff, but it also has like the same voice, meaning like the feeling of the game. It feels the same. It feels like just more Stanley Parable, which is awesome because I loved it the first time I played it. It was one of those seminal games, like those ones you remember that that is meta, break the fourth wall, that kind of shit. Is one of the first ones where I was like, oh shit, kind of opens your eyes to like what a game could be
Hmm.
when it involves the player discovering things, you know. Um, when they talk to you as the player or as the person in the game. Um, like one of the first things you find about the Stanley Parable is the narrator says Stanley does this, and if you do it, the game's over very quickly. No spoilers there. But if you don't do it, that's when the game starts to reveal itself as to what it is. Um, there's twists and turns and surprises. Like really, really like if you are into the humor of like Douglas Adams or like um oh god Ringworld Terry Pratchett.
Hmm.
If you're into that kind of humor, this is very much in that kind of vein for sure.
I'm
And I
surprised.
just like loved it. Go ahead.
I think we need a round of applause. You got through that entire thing without saying meta. It's very impressive.
You did.
That's award worthy
Or
right there.
Discworld, not Ringworld. I'm sorry, Discworld. I apologize. I didn't mean Ringworld.
Hmm.
Discworld.
Hmm.
Yes. But yeah, it's the thing I like about
Oh, he
games like
did
this.
say meta. Shit.
It, it could be anything. It's so wide open because once it reveals itself to you, there's they can do absolutely anything. There's the rules are kind of thrown out the window as to you know where where it could take you, and that's what I loved about it. I loved not knowing where the story was going, where the plot was leading, if there was a plot. You know, most games you go through that have like absurdity or um, twists and turns and stuff like that, but they're within the confines of the game's set rules. But with stuff like Stanley Parable, no set rules.
Hmm.
You know, so anything can be anything.
Is it more like weird and everything you just said? Is there a tinge of like scariness to it, or is it just like eeriness, or is it more just absurdity?
No, I wouldn't say there's any scariness really.
Okay.
There is a feeling. There is a definite feeling of
Something's off.
possible. Like I wouldn't say dread might be too strong, but yeah, there's a eerie what's going on feeling, like I'm being tricked or I'm being watched or stuff like that. There's definitely that kind of feeling for sure.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
How long? What is this?
Unease.
How long is this
Tension,
game?
unease, and unsettling.
Okay.
How long is it?
Yeah, I'm curious. Like, what if this is the ultra deluxe? Yeah, ultra
Yeah.
deluxe edition. How long is this?
Well, I played it, having played the first one. I played it for an entire stream. I played it for almost 8 hours, and I didn't see everything.
Okay.
Yeah, there's
It's
more
not.
more to the game that I missed. Not a ton, but I would say like 10, 12 hours, something like that.
It's so
Okay.
untraditional that it's even its loop is untraditional. Where there's not really there's absolutely a beginning, but there's not really an end. It's kind of a good way to think about it is it's kind of like going to a museum. And
Got it.
the,
Okay.
it could be your end if you've seen every exhibit, but you could also just keep walking around and look at stuff if you want. Like, and you may find things that aren't even that you've never seen that aren't even related to like an ending. It's a very unique experience. I even would almost go as far as saying it's not really a game. It's more of kind of like a commentary walking simulator. Like there are decisions that you make, but it is mostly just absorbing what the narrator's saying or what's going on the screen and kind of rudimentarily walking between places. In a good way. I don't mean that as a bad thing. I just mean like it's. I would also say it's more of an. It's almost like a. You know what? I like what somebody just said in chat. It's more like an interactive narrative
Okay.
than it is like a game.
How long did it take you, Co? We got 10 and Zeke
I
hours.
did
10 to
not
12.
see everything,
Okay.
and I played it about 8 hours.
Oh wow. So there's some length to it.
And there's definitely more. But I could do another full morning stream of it and probably have stuff to see.
It now is like how much new content, I guess, is there?
So here's what's really cool, and I'm not going to spoil this for you at all, but this is definitely what I recommend doing, and it's good to know. So the way that it works is there is the base game, and the base game has a ton of interesting things to see and work through. As you progress through the base game, you will see a door that says new content.
Oh.
Like you will just see a door, and you will get multiple decisions as to is if you want to walk through it. I would say do not walk through it until you have done everything you want to in the base game. And then once you have, then you just walk through that door.
Okay. Interesting. This might be the most we've ever talked about a game without talking about the game at all. Maybe
Well,
pretty on point for what the game is, and I kind of like that. I kind of love that.
Yeah, I would say we definitely probably should not talk much more about it at all until you've played it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
We'll see. I mean, I might not. The community's got to vote for it, but I think it's
Even if they don't vote for it, you should still play it.
I think it's in the lead, and I think funny enough, I mentioned the other day because we watched someone play DDR. I was like, oh, I still got that DDR thing, and then that became like the top vote. So I might be playing DDR for like 8 hours.
Swung the vote. He swung the vote.
It was my fault. It happens, but yeah, maybe we'll check out some Stanley Parable if it doesn't win, regardless.
It's one of those games that
DDR.
produces a lot of inside jokes for people who have played it or seen it. Like if I said bucket or broom closet or, a myriad of other just, words or phrases, people would know exactly what you're talking about. Like, remember the bucket? Yeah, I remember. Remember broom closet? I remember.
Okay. Got it. Well, then we'll circle back to the convo.
Hey, Co. Remember the baby?
Oh yes, I had a dance party there.
That shit was hilarious.
I don't know about the baby. I don't. Keeping with tradition, you guys want some spoilers about Halo?
Yes.
This time I'm
I'm not gonna
prefacing
watch the
it though.
show. Let's go.
Man, I don't. How do put this up? Maybe I don't have a spoiler graphic for this.
Dude, the Halo show.
You don't have a spoiler graphic no more?
I thought I did. Maybe it's on 4%.
I haven't even seen the spoiler show, and I am so angry at what they have done to my cheek.
All right, so let's. Maybe I'll just put Halo footage on the screen.
Oh my god!
Because I really want to. I have some things to say. It's video game adjacent, so we'll do it. Here's co-playing Halo Infinite. This is your spoiler. Oh, we have spoiler stuff right here. It's just not on the other card.
Okay.
So this is the part when he bangs that chick.
Man, Master Chief straight up fucked another person on Halo. It was, and Cortana watched. This was a show where he fucked someone in the goddamn show. It was so weird.
Wait. And here's the best part.
And Cortana's watching.
I saw snippets of this, but I want to make sure I understand. Is it true that the person the Master Chief sleeps with is a prisoner of war? Like, is
yes! It was, man. And look, I was one of those people that was like, look, this guy's, it's not a bad, look, it's not, if you remove the Halo from your brain, the show's pretty good. It's decent science. I got to this most recent episode. Man, what the fuck?
Is it weird that the first question I want to know is like, did he just put his wiener through like a hole in the suit? Like, did he go
no, he's fully naked. They're very, it's very, not, explicit, right? Like
it's safe for TV.
Yeah. There's no, it's just like a shirtless Master Chief there, which is, you get to see his ass at another point.
Now, hold on a second. My follow-up question. As the sex was proceeding, did it have like an announcer going like, "Come-tacular"?
No, that would have been better.
Coming spree.
I was on board till this entire thing, and then I'm like sitting there watching it, and I'm like, wait a minute. Is Master Chief fucking right now? Like what? And then they show Cortana like pop up on the little computer thing on
just
like a table.
Watching.
And Cortana's just like, and it was weird, man. It was real weird. I was totally on board with it just being a little weird Halo, not necessarily, straight up in the fiction. They lost me after that episode. Now we're just like, what the fuck is this territory? I really don't know.
Now it's just Space Marine shooty show.
Yeah, that's the thing that drives me crazy about this. It's like they drum up a show to a community that has gotten to know these characters, who has spent literally hundreds of hours watching them develop, getting to know what kind of people they are. They make the show for the game Halo.
Yeah.
And then they have the show be apps. I have PTSD watching this. I have the show. Then they make the show. Okay, thank you. Oh, not this. Okay. They make the show about, it's not about Halo. Like nothing in the show is about Halo. It literally is just like they are completely taking advantage of the fandom of Halo to get more viewers for a show that is not Halo.
Yeah.
And they're just like pooping all over everything that Halo is. And like all the things that made Master Chief what he was. They're just whipping that character apart because they think, we don't really like that. We don't like that. We're going to put a different character in his place, a completely different character.
John.
We're just going to call him Master Chief.
Yeah.
And like, it's just like, that's messed up, man. It's so screwed up because you could have had a really good Halo show based on the game Halo. Like there could have been an awesome, like super feels goody show about the actual Master Chief. It could have been awesome, but instead they sold it out for whatever this is. And it's just like, and now this is the new canon for that.
There are moments where it's that. Episode, like, I think there's 8 episodes out right now. The 9th one's coming, or maybe it's 8. Maybe there's 7 out and the 8th one's coming, something like that. But in episode 6, I think, they have a moment where like you get to see Spartans fighting the Covenant in a pretty long out battle scene. It's fucking awesome. There's like people doing awesome Master Chief shit and Spartans blowing the fuck up out of Covenant and people just getting absolutely like cut up by Covenant is awesome. And then there's other moments where you're like, what the fuck? Like, what is happening? Why is this happening? Stop. Go back to that.
Yeah.
I want to see more of Spartans straight up murdering each other. Well, not murdering each other. That happens in episode 8. But I want to see Spartans like murdering Covenant and like fighting. It's awesome. But yeah, the other storyline in 8 was, or in episode 8, was that the Spartans do have some infighting where 2 Spartans are like under the directive of Halsey. If you played Halo, you know that name.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, she's a major character in the show. And she basically directs the 2 Spartans to fight and straight up kill Master Chief, who's not in suit, who's fighting 2 Spartans who are in suits, with a third party, another Spartan. There's 3 Spartans outside of Master Chief, who removed her like behavioral chip. And so she's like able to process and experience things as a human rather than as like a weapon is her storyline. And so she's like on the side of Master Chief at that point. But she's lifting a fucking warthog right before that and like taking bets on if she can do it. That's like her scene of showing that she's human, is her just straight up lifting heavy shit and taking bets for it. It's weird. It's fucking weird. I'll watch the final episode because they have shown bits of the Halo, but they're treating it with a reverence of it looking like heaven and is kind of like this like holy place rather than being, Halo, the Halo, the rings that you traverse in the games. So I don't know. I'm fully expecting that's going to be what happens in the closing of the show, is they're going to find the ring and John is there in his suit, like traversing the ring, fighting Covenant for a setup for season 2, which has already been confirmed. But we'll see. The main storyline, by the way, is that there's a human who was captured by Covenant, and she's basically a product of the Covenant. She had a fucking little tiny sword in her fingernail that like popped out, like an energy sword that would pop out of her fingernail. She rips it off at one point in a scene.
You're joking.
No. This legitimately, I'm not joking. That's a real character.
Is that did the Covenant have energy swords come out of their bodies?
They do now. It was like an implant in her nail. Because she was supposed to kill John, or she could kill John at one point. She was kind of a spy. They set up like they set up a ship, and she's like marooned on the ship. She sends out like a distress signal, like save me, blah blah blah. Then
it's a human that works with the Covenant.
Yeah. She. So if we're really getting into this, she like
Hold on,
mastered.
Wait, time out. If I'm gonna actually maybe watch this someday, I probably shouldn't hear this.
Yeah,
I can just mute up. Okay, I'm just gonna mute up.
Well, then, you asked the question. I won't answer it. I won't answer it.
Yeah. I now that I'm thinking about it, I might actually watch this someday, especially if season 2 turns out to be like better. Like I may actually watch it someday. So
it is.
I'll mute up.
It is. I'll say this. It is a plot that, if knowing what you know about Halo, you going into this show with the plot that the show has, you're gonna be like, what the fuck? Like it's not Master Chief fighting the Covenant. At the end of the day, he does fight the Covenant, but that's not the central plot line. And the central plot line is Master Chief fucks. It's real funny. I also loved outside of that when the episode aired in this past week. I think I saw Angry Joe talking about this, and Angry Joe has a lot of takes where I'm just kind of like, yeah, that's a take you can have, Joe. You're Angry Joe. This is a persona you kind of have, blah, blah, blah. But his most recent tweet, or one of his most recent tweets, was that he was calling out all the gaming websites that were writing articles. They were saying that fans were upset because Master Chief is no longer a virgin in their eyes. And it wasn't that he was just like straight up having sex in the show, which is just completely like not his character. It's been a weird week in the Halo conversation around the TV show, I'll say. So
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I wonder if the people were like, Master Chief, like, he doesn't, like, he's pretty much in his helmet, like, in armor, like, all the time, and
yeah,
like
in
in
the
the game.
in the games, yeah.
Pretty much that'll never work in TV. And then the Mandalorian's like tapping him on the shoulder, like,
Totally, yeah.
Yeah.
I thought
it does fine. We did it. It's all good.
I came upon that thought after watching episode 8 when I was like, yeah, it's a sci-fi show. It's not a Halo show. It's sci-fi set. Hey, it's fine. And then afterwards, after watching the most recent episode, I thought like, well, Mando did it. He never took and when they took his helmet off, it was like a giant, awesome moment. It was like a landmark
taking
moment.
the helmet off. Taking
Urban?
the helmet off should have been the last. Well, they couldn't really do it because Mandalorian did it, but it
Yeah.
should have been the last scene of the Halo first season.
Yeah.
If even, maybe even the second season. Like that should have been like a huge deal. That
Yeah.
would have been like so much more respectful to fans of Halo because it's like, yeah. Oh,
and
Judge Dredd, Judge Dredd.
What do you say?
It's true. You're like Judge Dredd did it.
Oh,
But
Judge
then
Dredd.
again,
Yeah.
Carl Urban, like, there's some actors who do a lot of acting with their entire face. Carl Urban is a jaw actor, man. He powers that movie with his jaw.
Yeah.
That's all, and that's all you need. He crushes that role.
The other, I think I also the show dropped down in quality. Someone ruined revealed. If you've seen the Orange is the New Black, porn stash is John Halo. That's Master Chief.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I didn't
he's
know
the
that.
Locron.
I didn't know that until someone told me that, and now it's just like it's fucking ruined the entire game or the entire show for me because porn stash is, yeah. So, those are maybe we'll circle around to cover the finale next week. But man,
You want to hear an odd tidbit about that that actor?
Sure.
So I met him at a Comic-Con backstage. He was doing an interview. I didn't get to interview him, but he was doing an interview on the Twitch stage.
Okay.
A few years ago for American Gods, and I was like, I introduced myself. I was like, "Hi, I'm welcome. Thank you for coming." And I couldn't place him right away because I had not seen American Gods yet.
Yeah.
And I was like, "But I knew you." And I honestly, I think I don't remember if I tweeted it or I actually said it to the guy's face, but I was like, there's a reason I don't like you, and I don't know why. It's like, oh shit, you're porn stash.
Porn stash, yeah. He's a piece of shit in that show. He's an absolute piece of shit. Yeah. So, well, maybe I'll mention give my thumbs up, thumbs down next week after the finale comes out. But
yeah, that'd be good.
The most recent episode, fucking huge thumbs down, man. Huge. I just couldn't believe what I was watching. I mean, Master. And then it's even more hilarious.
Is that his MO? Does that actor fuck prisoners? Like
maybe.
I don't know. He did it in fucking Halo.
Maybe so.
You
You're right.
typecast Sean Bean.
Yeah, maybe.
God.
It could be. All right, that's it for that. Man. Yeah. Where do you want to take us? What do you want to do? Maybe some of that Warhammer stuff. How's that?
Oh yeah, Warhammer Chaos Gate.
So some footage of that.
Yeah, sure.
Cool.
Warhammer Chaos Gate. Now the thing about Warhammer games is they've always kind of gone for a quantity over quality approach. Where the workshop, the people that own the IP, they over the years we have seen many Warhammer games that are just not quite there. Be it technically or from a game design perspective, or just lots of games that just aren't quite there in the Warhammer universe. So when I started looking at it's Warhammer 40K, Chaos Gate, Daemonhunters, just so we can throw some extra words on there. I was going in kind of like, okay, this might be kind of fun. Let's check it out. Let's see how it is. Hopefully it'll last a whole stream for me. We'll see. I ended up playing it for like over 20 hours and actually restarted twice during it. Warhammer 40K Chaos Gate is not only a relatively awesome Warhammer game, but it is also just a very great XCOM style tactics game. There's lots of character customization. There is some fun base building elements. There's your standard research and building stuff. It does take from this game I also really enjoy called BattleTech, where you kind of control a ship and you're flying around doing missions while at the same time developing your giant mobile base. There's lots of options of how you can spec your characters. There's like different weapon types that have and different rarities and item levels on top of those. So like different weapons can have like crazy effects that completely make that standard weapon, what would normally be a standard weapon be like incredibly well performing. There's lots of RNG loot. There's even like almost like a RNG character kind of thing at some points where it's like you can get requisitioned of characters that are certain levels of certain types, and it's just a very cool tactics game. And I think that honestly, when you're talking about like good Warhammer style games like Vermintide and things that really kind of stand out, I feel like this is one of the games that stands out.
I heard, I watched a little bit of Strippin diving into the 40K lore as it's become his stream.
I heard it became 7 hours for
Yeah.
him.
It's been a while, a long time on that. Were you inclined at all to dive into the lore a little bit? Does the game do a good job of like telling you about it in a grand scale? Okay.
It does. They're the characters. There's kind of like four-ish major characters, and you can talk to them between missions and between like major story elements, and they'll give you kind of background on characters. There's some iconic characters in this game which are pretty cool as well. I have always wanted to dive into Warhammer 40K lore. I just haven't had the 394 hours it would take to do it on stream.
Yeah.
But I do really enjoy the 40K universe. It's incredibly unique. I love kind of the sci-fi dark elements of it. And yeah, I would love to dive into. Every time a Warhammer game comes out, I'm super interested. The next big Warhammer game coming out, I think, is Dark Tide.
Yeah.
Which is Vermintide in the 40K universe. And I loved Vermintide. I had many, many hours in Vermintide playing with the community. So I am definitely looking forward for this one, for Dark Tide as well.
You want to paint any minis? Did you pick up any plastic?
They sent me a mini. The press kit was actually like a mini of an iconic character and like a whole thing of paints. I think it's a co.tv/chaos unboxing.
Yeah.
And it was like a really cool press kit. I might paint it someday if I have some time on stream or something. But I've also been warned not to. I have been told do not paint that many. It is basically like taking the first hit from a drug dealer.
That's what happened to my wife.
Yeah. So I'm still, I'm figuring out what I'm gonna do.
Our kitchen still, we did like a sponsored stream for, it was the fantasy version. It wasn't 40K. I forget the box that it was. It was some specific box that they were promoting. And after the stream, Erin pulled out her phone and was like, "Oh,
Sigmar.
There you go. Yeah, Age of Sigmar. Yeah. It's like, oh, I'm gonna buy some more." And now we still, I can walk upstairs. We still have a cart that is a paint cart with figures on it, with brushes and all that shit in our kitchen.
That is so cool.
That she like hasn't used in about 3 months, but we spent some money.
But it's there, and that's what matters.
Yeah, we spent some money on it. She spent some money on that stuff.
I like Trin talking in my chat. One paint is all it takes.
That's all it took, man. It really was. She was going to hobby stores here in town.
Just one.
She was.
I might be like the outlier here, but I started painting my tabletop Warhammer figures way back, like I don't know how, before Twitch was even a thing, and I painted like a few of my squads and stuff, and they all came out just fucking terrible.
Yeah,
the only one that ever came out good was the ones I used the dry brush technique with the metal.
Yep,
the metal paint.
Aaron uses that.
The dry brush, that's the secret right there to making like good looking minis. So from then on, that's all I did. I would just dry brush fucking everything. Everybody was made of metal from then on out.
It just looks better. Yeah. I actually painted one thing and I was like, oh, I should never do that again. But I'm really good at constructing the minis. So I'll build the minis and I'll let Erin paint them because she's fantastic at whatever she does. And
I'm the same.
She was incredible at painting them.
I hated painting all the tiny little details.
Yeah.
So it's just so tedious and my fat, stupid fingers won't do it right. And you end up painting over the line and you got it on.
Yeah.
I like
It's
putting them together though. Putting them together was fun.
Yep, I agree. I agree. Anyways, back to the game. I heard I heard some complaints about the UI in this. Do you echo those
UI is
thoughts?
a little clunky.
Yeah.
UI is a little clunky. There are definitely some weirdness to the UI. It's not always clear, especially initially. Even when you know what you're looking for, it's not super clear. But especially when
Mm.
you're not really sure what you're looking for, it's very strange. Later on in the game, there's like this weapon trait unlock system, and what's funny is the system is in the game and fully viewable well before you actually know what the hell it is. That makes it very strange, because you're not sure like what's applying and what isn't and why it's locked, and it's just like it's kind of weird. And then the UI itself is just at times a little bit weird and clunky.
Yeah.
Definitely not its shining point. Also, it's important to keep in mind the game is procedural. It's very procedural, and it's also one of those games where you have like a main mission you have to do, but you don't have to do it immediately. So there's this weird like corruption system that you're constantly battling, but at the same time you want to get as much done as you can. So like it's but at the same time you want to keep the main mission going. So you're never quite sure like should I do the main mission now? Should I keep farming? Like you never really know if you keep farming if you're going to get overwhelmed by the corruption system. It's there's a lot of unknowns in it, which of course, maybe that's the point you're supposed to play through it multiple times and kind of learn how to do the best stuff, but
Yeah.
it does get a little much at sometimes. For me
Did you start on
personally,
the difficulty? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
no, it's fine. There's many difficulties and they're all pretty good. I played on the second to hardest, and well, actually, I'll say this first, and then we'll go into that real quick. So the thing for me is, I got to a point where I had like 20 plus hours in this game and 20 plus hours in this game called King Arthur Knight's Tale, and they're both similar kind of tactics style games. And I did end up deciding I was going to put Chaos Gate on hold and go King Arthur because King Arthur was a lot more handcrafted. It's a lot more RPG.
Mm.
This game is a lot more tacticsy. And the second thing to mention on there is the way the game worked before. You could really take advantage of forward momentum using this thing called the stun system, where enemies would have like a hit point bar with armor, and they'd also have like a stun bar. And if you got the stun bar down, you could then melee hit them for an execute, which would then give everyone on your team more movement action for that turn. So taking advantage of that and speccing your characters to utilize it, you could be incredibly strong because you'd constantly be you'd be stunning, executing, getting your whole team more stuff, being able to take out huge amounts of enemies per round. But just recently, they nerfed that into the ground.
Huh.
So just like in one patch, they basically made it so your characters can't gain like as much willpower per turn. They made it so the stun now kind of gradually gets up as you go through missions to the point where you definitely can't do that kind of stuff anymore. And there were other nerfs as well on top of that. It was a huge balance patch. So that in tandem with the fact that I was just kind of having more kind of RPG fun in King Arthur, I definitely have put the game down for now. Also didn't really help that the missions were procedural and I restarted 2 times. And then finally when I was getting my groove on, like they kind of like axed the kind of party setup I had. So
Yeah.
but it is the kind of game that I could see actually returning to down the road, and I could absolutely see myself starting over with all of the changes and balances and kind of figuring out how to get through that iteration of the game. It is just a very solid tactics game. This is one of, I think, 4 available classes, and then there's advanced classes later. And like all of those things can be pretty sizable in how your character functions and works and stuff like that. So I think people that like Warhammer and like tactics game will have a lot to find enjoyable in this game. Finally, to go to Zeke's point, there are lots of different difficulty levels, and you can pretty much make it as hard or as easy as you want.
Yeah. How hard are we talking? Like, are we talking long war mod hard? Are we talking like
When
make
I was
one?
playing on this,
Go ahead.
at the end of my second playthrough, when I was playing on the second to hardest difficulty and not taking advantage of the big stun stuff, I was getting it was very tough. As somebody who's played a lot of tactics games, not like a huge amount, not thousands of hours, but hundreds of hours of tactics games, like it was very punishing. I was doing a mostly range group. I was not really taking advantage of stun, which apparently now with the patch you can't really do as much in later levels. And I mean, the amount of enemies that you are against versus the amount of damage you have capability of outputting is um it's a large ratio.
Got it.
So
Is it a
really have to know what you're doing.
percentage-based thing? Like, does
No,
it show
it's
you?
not
Okay.
percentage based. No.
Okay.
So
Oh, really?
you pretty much know how much damage you're going to do. There's lots of variables that influence how much damage can be done, and like full cover is full cover. Like you cannot hit someone at range behind full cover. Which is
Okay.
so there's lots of little interesting twists that it does. But there are not a huge amount of RNG elements outside of like there's some resistance chances and things like that for some things later. But yeah, most of the actual damage outside of critting is still a chance. But there are actual hard damage values. You will know that you will do X amount of damage all the time, and then there's a crit chance on top of that.
It's cool.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I thought it was percentage based. So to hear that, it probably changes up the gameplay a little bit more when you don't have a 1% miss. That probably feels a lot better than XCOM.
Yeah.
You
Do you get
assholes.
nicknames like XCOM? Because I love that.
You absolutely can. You can not only nickname people, but you can choose so much about. You can choose each arm and like what the flare is on that. You can choose their legs and what the flare is on that. The pattern of their armor, the colors.
Are they
their
all
hair,
Space
like,
Marines?
They are Grey Knights. This follows.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
Yes,
To the person writing me an email
excuse you,
from the
sir.
Warhammer fandom, please shut the fuck up and stop. He's
these are
already been
Grey
corrected.
yeah. Come on now. They are a very elite chapter.
Gotcha.
Of the
I
Emperor's
understand.
Chosen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks. Let's not make that mistake again. But yeah, no. This follows an interesting kind of a very cool story of a Grey Knight contingent that is usurped by an Inquisitor who is on a mission, and then it kind of follows that, and you kind of learn about what's going on and how that all works. And yeah, you can see like the unit. One of the coolest parts of this game, by far, probably some of the coolest looking units I've had in a tactics game. Like they
That
just
looks
look
pretty badass.
badass. Yeah. And you
Yeah.
can really do a lot of
It looks
customization
pretty-
if you want to do that. And it's a very, very cool Warhammer game for sure.
Yeah,
You
that
can
guy
see
looks
there,
pretty
man.
badass. With the damn, he's got two
Hell yeah,
fucking
dude.
swords, and he looks pretty.
They look pretty great.
PC, I'm guessing Steam, Epic, is it?
I
believe
bought
it's
it on Steam.
Epic
I
and
own it
Steam.
on Steam. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it might also be on Epic. I guess it's what
Might have
40
sold
bucks.
me on it, dude.
Was it
$40.
40?
Give it a try, man. It's super cool.
$44.99. It looks like.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun. And also Ishtola is the
Yeah, I
Inquisitor.
saw that in a review I watched.
And
I
she
picked up her voice.
she does a great job. She actually has a lot of emotion. She plays her role very well. Schmiltor is on it as well. He is one of the main voices. Does a great job. He does awesome. So yeah, there's a lot of really good voice acting in it.
What was that, Zeke?
Yeah, Andy Serkis.
Yeah, Circus is in it. Yeah. I wondered, like, what do you think Circus? Do you think he like walks in there and be like, "I'm going to take all your budget, bitches," or is he like pretty?
He did the trailer too. He seemed relatively plugged
Maybe
in.
he's just
like,
a fan
I don't know
of
if he's a Warhammer. I don't know if he's a
Yeah.
Warhammer fan, but like he was in the trailer and he seemed like legit excited about the game, and he does a great job in it. And yeah, good stuff.
Well, I mean, you gotta think like the people who get work and are like everywhere, like your Matt Mercers of the world, like your Troy Bakers or whatever.
Yeah.
Like they probably spend it, but not outside of reasonable. You think like since they get so much work, the thing is like, oh, that's reasonable.
They're still getting paid by a ton of people, so they
Dude,
must be asking the proper terms.
What was it?
Proper,
Just a year or two
wages.
ago, or actually like 2 to 3 years ago, Matt Mercer was Death. Like he was the entire character of Death in an indie game. I mean, their budget is not something crazy, and he's there doing like tons of lines in indie games. I mean, it's when you have to remember, especially for voice actors and stuff like that, it's up to them how much they want to work. But at the same time, if you want to work all the time, that's a lot of gigs. Like that's a lot. So I mean, it's kind of like us playing little like off the road games. It's just like sometimes you just want to have some fun doing something that just may cater to you if it doesn't compensate super well.
They got to reach out to Henry Cavill. He's like the biggest Warhammer nerd.
Oh, I know, right?
Painting and all that.
I bet he'd do it in a heartbeat. Yeah,
I bet you he'd do it in a heartbeat as well. Yeah.
Henry Cavill is going to be the lead voice of Space Marine 2.
Oh, I forgot they are making a Space Marine 2, right? Is that that an Embracer thing? Who's making that? Doesn't Embracer own that? The THQ?
I think so.
I think I could just say doesn't Embracer own that, and most of the time it's going to be true.
Focus. It's Focus.
Oh, it's Focus Entertainment.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So I'm actually really excited for that. I never played the first one, so I finally now have a really good reason to go back and play that all the way through. So yeah.
How's performance? Does it run well?
Performance is fine.
Yeah.
I had no issues with performance.
Are you
granted again, I use a computer that's based on the moon.
Are you still 1080p?
No, 1440.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, 1440. Remember the whole card thing?
That's right. Yeah. We had that conversation. Yeah. I in the past month I've bumped up to I'm full 4K capable on everything, and some games are still Elden Ring, for example, can't do 4K. It's strong. It's like 50, even with all the. It's a terribly optimized game, to be honest, but it still can't push 4K that well on PC.
How about inviting Henry Cavill to drop frames when Space Marine 2 releases? Well, I don't think he's actually in it.
Henry, you're welcome to come on the show, buddy. Have your people talk to literally me. I don't have people. It'll just be me.
Just
Reach
send
out.
me an email.
You have to grow a mustache before you come.
That's true. We're not going to put it CG. Okay, we're not going to do that shit. That's too much money. 200 million or whatever it cost for Justice League. Yeah. Anyways.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Henry said he's completely down to do a voice in 40K. That's awesome.
Yeah. Rewatch Justice League?
Oh God! And they
Did you watch the Snyder?
With it.
Did you watch the Snyder?
Oh, I watched the Snyder one. Yeah, I did.
Okay, I haven't seen the Snyder cut.
I watched the original, whatever, and fuck, they opened the movie with that shit, and it's just like, are you goddamn out of your mind? Are you fucking stupid? This is the stupidest thing that I've ever seen. Sorry, that's old news. Oh, like I just rewatched it. Like, is it as bad as I remember? It's worse than you remember. His lip is like like moving independently of himself.
Yeah, it's real silly. It's real silly. Zeke, where you want to go? What else you been playing?
I played a game called Underdog Detective that I would love to talk about.
Okay, I'll look for the VODs. We'll talk about it.
It's a FMV game.
Got it.
Yes, I look at the highlights. Yeah. Underdog Detective is an FMV game that is.
Wait, is this the Square Enix game or is that a whole different
No.
story? Okay, all right.
Different game.
Okay, sorry.
No problem. There we go. I'm just pulling up the Steam page here. Underdog Detective is an FMV game that has such wonderful production value. The sets, the acting, the actors, like the writing, all of it is like you wonder how the fuck, like, would they do this for just an FMV game? The answer is no. This is actually they made an FMV game while producing a television series or streaming series or whatever out of this set. Like, this set was originally used for a movie. There you go, movie. Sorry, my bad. I'm sorry. I apologize. For movie. Anyways, they made an FMV game alongside of it.
That's really smart.
Yeah,
that's what I said. This is one of my favorite characters in the game too. He was oh God, what was his name? He reminds me of that NES character. Oh, come on, help me out, Chad. Karnov. The fucking guy looks like Karnov from the old NES game. Loved him. Not this guy, the other guy, the guy with the shirt. That guy. Karnov is in this game. These two guys are lieutenants in this place called Underdog. Now, Underdog is this town that lives this shitty, it's like slum underneath this bridge, and the bridge above is where all the richy riches or average, like middle class, lower class lives here in Underdog. Now, the whole thing is based around this guy.
Wait, is the city above called Dog?
No, it's called Heaven's Gate.
Okay.
No, I'm kidding.
I had to anyways.
It's called Updog, actually.
What's up, dog?
That would have been better.
Oh.
That would have been better. I would have liked that. Should have gone with that.
Yeah, it's called Liu Yang.
Got it.
But the story is based around this lovable, like, foppish, kind of like in a Aladdin before he finds the lamp kind of a character. Like, he's always scheming and trying to, like, it opens with this scene of him trying to sell this jade circle, and he's telling this elaborate story about it. He runs like a junk shop, telling this elaborate story about
it's like Zeke in his pawn shop days.
Yes, exactly. About how he found this thing, and that's how it opens. Is like he's like making up this story to try and sell this jade circle to this lady, and so you get kind of a feel for what he like, the kind of a guy he is. And there's goofball antics. There's like there's pratfalls and you know, some of that, but also there's some really, really cool fight scenes in the game too. the basic gist of it is you become a detective. This is the first crime that you see. The underdog boss, like the boss of the place. He's not a crime boss,
Yeah.
but he runs the town. He's like sort of the ad hoc mayor. Is killed, and it's one of those like closed door murders. Like the door was locked. How'd he die? And you have to figure it out. And the way you figure it out is kind of cool. Like you examine the scene and you do like look at stuff, ask people about stuff, you come up with conclusions. There are fail conditions in the game. You like if you make the wrong choice, you will die. And sometimes the way you die is either hilarious, brutal, or hilariously brutal.
Did
There
they
are
show
many
it?
different
Like,
ways.
is it
Yeah.
graphic?
Oh, it's like movie deaths. Like, you know, they'll like, you know, stab you with a sword. You know, it's obviously not really stabbing the person. Like, it's not gory.
Yeah. Okay.
I won't say that, but it's definitely like, you know, you'll die of starvation. You'll hang or stuff like that. Lots of different types of deaths.
Yeah.
I will say the game is fairly linear, but the fun parts are like the way when you go off track and then you fail and then you go like, oh shit, okay, come back here, make a different choice. Like, oh fuck, that was another fail. Okay, come back here, make another choice. Because half of the fun for me was watching all of like the ways you could completely screw the fucking scenario up. It was great. The act it's all in Mandarin. I want to say Mandarin or Cantonese. I'm not sure. I think it's just Mandarin.
Okay.
But all subtitles translated pretty well, fairly well. There's a couple of, you know, Englishes here and there, but not too bad at all. It's very easily understandable. The humor is absolutely like, it's not weird. The humor, it's definitely like straightforward. Like this guy said this, and this guy like fucking snapped at him real funny, or he slapped him, or something like that. It's not like absurd or esoteric humor. It's very, you know, solid comedy, I would say. Yeah, and it was a fantastic little game that I had never heard
You
of.
beat it?
Yes, I did. It has mixed reviews on Steam. I'm just letting you know it has mixed reviews on Steam, and the reason is it was released in two parts. It was released chapters 1 through 5, and then 6 through 16 or 17 were released after that. And most of the bad reviews are written in Mandarin, written in the Chinese language. So apparently their problem with it wasn't like a full game. They thought they were purchasing a full game when they bought it, and it didn't get a full game because there was unreleased chapters, and
Okay.
you know, they're pissed off about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Reasonable.
But, yeah, it took me about 8 hours. I saw most of the game, I would say. I saw probably about 95% of the game. And it was probably the most well-produced, best-looking FMV game I've played.
Wow.
Just because it was on a fucking movie set, dude.
Yeah, that's kind of your thing.
Took
So that's
advantage.
impressive.
Took
That's
full
really high
advantage of
praise.
it. 'Cause it changes like scenes too. It changes from like the slum to the city to the you know, the temple to the, you know, this guy's home to this compound, because they already had the sets for it. And I first thing I said was the same thing you guys said. I was like, now that's genius. They should do that more often with all kinds of different movies.
Yep.
Yeah. Underdog Detective is
Yeah,
on
man.
Steam.
What's it run?
I want to say who developed it, but it is in Chinese, so I can't.
Okay, fair enough. What's
Imagine
it-
if they did that with like a Marvel movie. Like they just, you know, like
made
they
an
did a
FMV thing?
like a Doctor Strange and the released FMV game that goes with it or something.
That'd be pretty cool.
Oh my lord, dude.
That'd be fucking amazing. I hope they do
Yeah.
that more often. Like this was the first time I'd seen it. Like I watched the trailer of it because someone brought it up on Indie Day or like Indie Suggestions, and I was like, how in the fuck is the production value so good on this? You know, you find the story, you're like, wow, they should do this a lot more on a lot of different things.
Yeah. Did you
Sounds like
say what that game cost, Zeke? What it ran? Was it 30?
You said 20
Yes,
bucks?
it is. hold on one second. All told, both sections would be 20 and 8.
Pretty
Oh,
much.
Yeah.
okay.
The first 5 episodes are 8, and the last 6 through 17 chapters are 20. So 28 bucks.
All right. Makes sense.
It was worth it to me. I loved it.
Cool. I could talk PoE it'll take 5 minutes because, hey, it's PoE. Okay. If you play PoE, still PoE. However, imagine if PoE was kicking you in the balls nonstop as you were playing. And that's what the new league is.
Go on.
Because holy shit, they've done 2 nerfs to the. So I'll take a step back. The league Sentinel 3.18 is released on Friday. There are no balance changes or meta changes in terms of the player skills and everything from 3.17. So everything is still the same from 3.17. It's the first time they've done that, I think, ever. Definitely in a very long time. Definitely since I've played the game.
Which is interesting because a few skills had like some significant overpowerings to them.
Yeah.
CD and stuff. Yeah.
I'm sorry. Someone in my chat I was taking a drink, and it's so amateurish, so immaturish. PoE, more like POO, am I right? It just fucking tickled me, and I'm sorry, I was drinking.
Got him! Yeah.
I would say that's a shared feeling among a lot of Twitch people as well, Twitch viewers, Twitch goers.
Oh man.
Anyways, it was the first time they've ever done that, and yeah, Ko's right. Some of the abilities, like the one that I'm playing, is incredible. It's supposed to be the most like broken one. I'm not there yet.
CD?
I'm playing seismic traps, which is apparently
yeah.
the like king of brokenness. But there's a lot of broken stuff. The meta is like figured out, so there's no guessing. You can. It's nice because you can play a build that you know is going to be good. You're not guessing if it's going to be good. Yeah.
Yep.
Which is cool. That being said, one thing they kind of downplayed was last league, 3.17, which was called the Arch Nemesis League. They changed how rares worked by giving them new affixes, new mods that can be spawned on the different rare creatures. And so that was what happened in 3.17. And in 3.18, they introduced all of those Arch Nemesis mods into the core of the game, which means that it becomes standard and will be there in every league. And it will be there on every rare. In doing so, it made every fucking rare in this game harder than the act bosses, harder than like the map bosses by a significant margin. And when I say harder, I definitely mean like ridiculously harder. Like I normally die maybe 15 times on my first character getting to maps. I died 75 this league. And that's like still fairly good from what I've seen from across the board. I don't know how you play this game hardcore right now. I definitely don't know how you played this game on Friday because they've done 2 balance changes to the rares since Friday. They did one Saturday morning, and then they did another one Saturday afternoon. And I'd say it's in a pretty good spot right now. It's still challenging. It's still very hard compared to leagues past. But Friday at launch, like, I died in the first fucking zone. I saw a rare and was like, oh, let's see what this is all about. Nope, dead. Oh, weird. That mob's got haste on it. And it's also got a slow. So when it hits you, it slows you, but it's hasted and then you die. Weird. I guess I'm just going to skip that. And so that's what people were doing is they weren't even dealing with the fights. They would just run, which you're kind of supposed to do while leveling in the first go to begin with. But if you want to interact with the content, you should be able to. And that was kind of where it'd be
a nice choice to be able to interact with.
That's where a lot of people were pissed off because you just couldn't fight. Like you literally would have to take 3 to 4 minutes to like fight a creature. It was insane. And that's not even mentioning the league mechanic, the whole brand new content around this is you press a button
shit harder.
and it makes it harder. It buffs the fucking mobs that you're fighting by pressing a button. And so on my channel, anytime I'm like doing well, Chat's like, hey, why don't you press the button, pussy? Like, let's see how you're really doing. Let's see what's really going on here. And so like last night, I'm in a tier 16 map, which is like pretty late game content. And they're like, oh, you're doing pretty well. You think you cleared that map pretty well? Yeah, press F2 on this boss. And I said, all right, fuck it. I pressed F2 on the boss, couldn't kill it, lost the map. Like I actually called someone in to be like, hey, can you come and kill this mob for me? Someone that's like much further on level wise and stat wise and all that stuff. And they're like, dude, that was the stupidest mob I've fought yet. That was by far the hardest mob that I've seen in this game. It's just, they just have insanity levels of HP. They have so much regen. If you have like a Maven, this is getting real in the weeds. If a Maven is constantly restoring them, it's just, you can create unkillable creatures very, 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 very easily. And the league mechanic is to make those bosses even harder, which is crazy.
There's an early
they
game.
Were listening to me when they added the King Kong's dick in your ear button.
Correct.
Yes. Good work. Good for you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, you beat it, but did you beat it after pressing F2?
That's correct. Yeah.
A viewer was asking about the Sentinel League, and I was doing that mission where you have to basically like you spawn in, you walk up this little gangway, and then it's like Captain something, and he's surrounded by some ads. You just have to kill him, and then you keep moving. Yeah, exactly. Maybe, yeah, and you just kill him and keep moving through. And I was like, so what you do is you hit this button here, and you can see how he got stronger. And now when you, oh, okay, I'm dead. All right, so let's go back, and you can see he's much stronger. And if you look at the wait, out again. Okay, did you see the icon that? No, you did. Okay, so if you get, and literally, I had to go to the world map, hold down Control, and click on that map,
make a new
and
instance.
re-roll it.
Yep.
Because I could not kill that mob before he would drain all of my potions and inevitably just destroy me. It was General Gravitius.
Oh, okay.
There we go. Yeah. So I mean, it was ridiculous. They're already difficult, and then on top of that, you roll just crazy modifiers, and then you buff them with the new league mechanics. So yeah, it was the thing.
I had a lot of hot takes on Friday because I was very upset when I was dying as much as I was. And I think a lot of people were pretty frustrated with the league, especially if you're playing hardcore. Hardcore had a whole nother set of issues where early on Friday, one of the act bosses was flat out bugged. So if it cast an ability, you would pretty much instantly die. And so it was kind of like content that you actually couldn't pass by unless you got lucky or you just like poured it out at the right times. And so that was super frustrating for those players. But I had like personal records on Friday. I got to maps in like 9 hours, which is pretty fast for me. Nowhere near as fast as like the fastest people. It's like 4 hours still. And then last night I killed a Minotaur, which is one of the Shaper generals, which is also a record for doing that on like day 2, which is pretty quick. So the league's still like playable. You can still do a lot of the content, but I'm also playing a build that is quote unquote one of the best right now. One of the more broken builds. So a lot of people are out there on the struggle bus with a lot of the content, and we'll see what happens as the league progresses on. There's new Uber bosses as well that people haven't, I don't think, have killed yet. They might have. I haven't been paying.
Uber. They're literally called Ubers.
Ubers. Yeah. There's
Ubers.
There's an Uber Elder, which is there's Elder, there's Uber Elder, and now there's Uber Elder, or something like that, which is an even harder version
next
of the
logical
fight.
step.
And the crazy part is on Uber Elder, you can walk in there and press F2, and it'll actually buff that fight to make it even harder if you want to.
Which is the Uber Elder.
Yeah, which it's like do you want to be kicked? Okay, press the button. We'll take a swing at your nuts. We'll do it if you want to.
See, getting a little into like the Swedish Chef territory with these.
Yes.
Yeah.
Uber in the Newt Elder.
Yeah.
Right up in there.
So it's apart from all of that, it's still PoE at its core. I think to talk about PoE in kind of a macro lens, like most people I see, at least in my chat, when it comes to PoE, is they're waiting for PoE 2. Most people are in like a holding pattern. They don't want to play the same
It's
content.
not for
It's not
another
for
year
years.
plus.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
we're
at
very
least
far
another
away
year.
from it. And so I'm really wondering if they have any plans to address that. I don't know how you do address that. But a lot of like if I were to look at PoE in terms of like a graph, I feel like it would be like, oh, the past couple of years have just been up, up, and up. And then about probably a year ago or maybe 9 months ago, it kind of started to plateau and it's kind of starting to fall a little bit. And the Steam numbers kind of reflect that as well. The drop offs are a lot faster in terms of the player base. So we'll see what happens with that if they continue to stay the course. They're supposed to, funny enough, introduce hard mode in like 3 seasons, so 9 months from now.
And now that we've all had a taste of it, everyone's like, no.
Yeah, fuck that. I'm not even gonna...
Yeah, that was not fun. Let's
Yeah.
not do that.
Yeah.
What about easy mode? Let's do easy mode.
Yeah, exactly. They did introduce new loot boxes yesterday. And the only reason that it's newsworthy is because for the first time now, the loot boxes give you no duplicates. So there's only a finite amount of things in a loot box that you can get.
And they introduced new active skin items, which is super.
That's what they are.
It's actually,
they're pretty
cool. I really hope that they take that to like some high-end weapon drops and uniques and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It'd be cool to see them not behind a pay barrier. But it's super cool stuff. Like there's special boots that the faster you move, the more like of a lightning path it'll leave behind you.
Yep. I got those.
There's like canisters you can wear on your back where like the more mana you have, the more full they are. I'm using a weapon right now where the more item find I have, the more the enemies explode in silver.
Yep.
Like all sorts of like really cool reactive skins. They're just skins, of course. None of this actually affects your character. But that kind of stuff is very fun. It's very cool.
It is.
I hope they kind of keep going down that path more and more. I'd just love to see that more in like normal stuff, not necessarily just MTX stuff.
Yeah. It's cool to see them evolve that and address the concerns that, the community had been saying for a very long time of like, these loot boxes suck. I have the same fucking door frame for my hideout now 30 times. And each one of those costs $3 or some shit. I don't know the actual numbers off the top of my head. But yeah, you can get, in the past, you could get a lot of dupes of that. And that sucks.
Real quick, earlier you made a commentary about the decline and stuff, but are they still getting record numbers for each of their expansions?
3.17, the most last league had record numbers. I don't think they hit record numbers for this one. I think they capped out 131,000 concurrent on Steam.
Okay.
For this league on Friday, I think. So they're not doing, when I don't want to sound all doom and gloomy. They're still doing great. They're still making a killing, right? Like the game is still successful by every stretch of the imagination. I just definitely see a lot of commentary of like, yeah, I'm skipping this league. I'm waiting for PoE 2. Like that's a very common thing I see. But that might also be people that are joining PoE streams and fighting the urge, right? Like they're doing this like, oh yeah, I'm going to skip till PoE. Shit, the game's installing. Fuck. Right? Like it's this type of how did the game start installing? What's going on? Yeah. But that's all I got. I will keep playing. I don't know if it's going to be on stream. I think I'll play a little bit more today. But I might be going back to the pits, the salt mines of League.
Back to the trenches.
Yeah. I also there's V Rising this week, which I might check out. I've been getting a bunch of emails and watch a bunch of trailers, and there's some buzz.
We got
on Twitter.
V Rising on the 17th, and then we have Vampire the Masquerade Swan Song on the 19th.
Yeah.
That should be cool. Zeke, you might like that one. Do you know about that one? You remember that game called The Council?
Swan Song?
Yeah.
I think I've heard of it. I think it might be on my wish list.
Yeah, it's Swan Song is by the makers of The Council. So they're actually making like a council in the vampire world, which would be
I played The Council. Is it Epic exclusive or
I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe.
I
don't know. Is it chat?
I don't know.
Oh, and JP, if you're looking for something to try, you should try Chaos Gate.
Yeah,
I
bought it. I've been I messed around for like an hour or a couple hours. I want to see how it ran in 4K. I've got this like thing where I'm just buying games, be like, how's this work in 4K? And then it's like, oh, okay, that's cool. It runs like
Or
shit.
chat's saying, chat is very smartly saying, or King Arthur for sure. Yeah, King Arthur is super cool. It is definitely more RPG.
Let me pull that up. I want to see. I want to hear you talk about that for a second.
Sure.
I gotta go to your YouTube for it. You said it's more RPG, right? So what is it?
Yes.
CRPG land? Like, what do you mean by that?
It's so the best way I can describe it is where like it's more handcrafted. All the characters are actual characters, like with their own backstories. A lot of them are from straight King Arthur lore, like Lady Guinevere and Sir Lancelot and Sir Kay, and like people that you've heard of from King Arthur. The cool premise of the game is that there's this giant battle on land, and King Arthur, the one true king, the unkillable, gets killed by Mordred, and then they both get sent to the afterlife. And the Lady of the Lake, basically, you find all this out in the very intro cinematic, which is awesome, by the way. In the very intro cinematic, the Lady of the Lake brings back Mordred, and Mordred is like, "What's going on?" And she's like, "Yeah, so turns out King Arthur has been resurrected into like this demon lord beast, and you, the guy who killed him when he was good and human, you're gonna need to kill him here now."
Oh, that's cool.
So basically, your first mission is to take back Camelot, which then becomes like this rather extensive base building element, and with kind of a darkest dungeon theme. And then you basically like start building out your army. There's a dual morality system where you pick between Christianity or the old gods, and then like council leadership or tyrant. And as you fill out those decisions, there's this big matrix that you like a dot moves around, and that unlocks characters and new things you can build in your base and like all sorts of things. Then you have all the base mechanics on top of it. The actual gameplay is what you see right now, where when you're out of combat, you're running around like in a CRPG, and then when you get to combat, there's generally like a little scene, the grid comes out, and then you start doing your turn-based stuff.
It's very
So
Fire Emblem.
there's tons of loot, and like the loot is super RNG. It's super meaningful. Like every playthrough can be completely different just based on what kind of items you get. There's tons of different builds for the characters. Each skill, there's 3 tiers that unlock at different levels, and each tier has like some passives and active skills. And then every skill has like 4 sub skills or sub passives that you can unlock for it. And those passives also get better as you level up through the tiers. So there's just tons of customization, tons of different ways to play, lots of replayability because each of the characters are kind of unique. And as you move through the action system, then you can only get certain characters and certain runs and things like that. So like I'm a Christian that's a council, so I can unlock the White Knight and things like that. Where if you go like a tyrant old gods person, you can get like Morgan Le Fay and like all these other like evil characters. There's multiple classes, and the way they do it is pretty cool. So take a class like marksman. Well, the marksman class has like, let's say 20 abilities, but the characters only get 15 apiece. So even if you have multiple marksmen on your team, the skills that they have, even though they're all from the marksman container, may not be present on every character. So even if you have 2 marksmen, they may act very differently in how they play and how they perform, which makes it kind of interesting in terms of like when you find a new marksman, it's like, oh shit, what do you do?
Yeah.
So every character is voiced. There's tons of story. Every level is handcrafted and generally has at least a few, if not more, of like its own dialogue. Some levels have their own complete unique mechanics, and it's just cool, man. The voice acting is like 90% awesome, 10% totally jank. But like most of it's really, yeah. But most of it's really good. Like Mordred, the lead character, is awesome, and like a lot of the characters that are like your main characters are also really good as well. And then every so often you get like that one person who's trying really hard to put on an old person voice and it's not quite working. So yeah.
Do you control is 4 like the max that you control, or is there more than that?
You go into every mission with 4 and you can pick. So the way that it works is if you see the green bar, that's your vitality, and the orange bar is your hit points. And the way that works is your hit points regen after every mission, but your vitality does not. So you have like a cathedral and a hospice, and that's how you can take a character out of a round for a mission and heal up their vitality or cure. There are also permanent injuries that you get if you start taking too much vitality damage that persists between missions, so you may have to cure those. Very darkest dungeon in terms of like in terms of managing your vitality. the way that most missions work is you pull in 4 people. Some missions require a certain person. Some missions require you don't bring a certain person. And then in the mission, you'll either stay with those 4, or if you're getting like a new character, or if there's like a story related person, they'll tack on as a 5. And I've seen a couple cases where you actually even have a 6. So it's 4 is your base, and then it generally bounces between like 4 and 5.
Cool.
Okay.
Okay.
But it's super cool, man. This is one of my biggest hidden gems for this year so far.
Yeah.
Now, are there all the familiar names that you like Galahad, Lancelot, Gawain? Like, are there all those guys are cool? Okay.
Yeah, if you know King Arthur lore, you will have a very fun time with the lore of this game. It's basically like this super kind of dark, twisted take on Avalon, which is supposed to be the place you go when you die, and you forever are great and everything's good. But the whole premise is that in Avalon there was this giant storm, and it basically, like, as Arthur was on his way, they took his ship and took him and turned him into this thing. And now, like, all of Avalon has been corrupted, and you're kind of like making your way through this corrupted Avalon, trying to figure out what the hell's going on while murdering Arthur and his, cronies and everything. It gets cool.
This is a boomer moment for me. You guys remember that King Arthur show that was animated where they were all football players from the early 90s?
Sounds
I
familiar.
thought you're gonna bring up Excalibur the movie, which is one of the greatest fucking fantasy movies.
That's a good
time.
movie. But yeah,
Uther.
That's how I know all the Knights of the Round Tables, because that fucking animated football King
Wait.
Arthur show.
Yes, King Arthur and the Knights of Justice.
Yeah, it was
Oh
real.
my god, I
they were
totally
like,
remember this.
It was real stupid.
Yep.
I don't know how long. I think it actually came to Netflix recently or something like that. They might even, maybe they're thinking about redoing it. There was something newsworthy about it a while back, but whenever someone mentions King Arthur, I think of one, Excalibur, because that movie scared the shit out of me as a kid, because it was very dark. And then number 2, I think about that animated show. What's this game run, Toe? Do you know what it costs?
Missed that one.
I don't offhand. I probably should have
Got
come
it right
to
here.
class with that information.
You got it, Zeke?
I feel very bad. It's $44.99.
Oh,
Yep.
You also had
And
100,
honestly,
100 episodes or some shit on your YouTube. Is it pretty long?
dude, I looking at my King Arthur here, between the little bit I played at the beginning and now, and I'm not done with the game. I'm still thoroughly enjoying it. I'm probably midway through Act 3 of 4 acts, and I have 48 hours in the game.
Damn.
So
Okay.
$44, I would, if you like this game, you will absolutely get your value out of it.
Cool. Yeah. Interesting.
Oh, and once you beat the main story, once you finish the game,
Post-game?
it has end game content, and there is more free content that the devs are bringing out, including like entire new like mini campaigns. I think next month.
I think I remember watching a trailer for that where they were touting the end game stuff, and it was really cool content. I think I do remember seeing this game now a while back. So, yeah, that's cool. Before we end, Zeke, I got to know what was.
Also, it's 120 gigs.
Why?
120 gig download. Yeah.
Why?
It's 120 gigs because it was uncompressed, and they said they were going to compress it for live, and they just it never did.
Holy shit! That's Call of Duty.
It's 120 gigs.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
crazy. Zeke, you were going to mention something, and I want you to talk about something. What's your mention?
Yeah, when you guys, I really want to bring this up because when you guys were talking about PoE and how like stupid hard it can be, and like not, like, I just recently ran up against something. The first time, I'm playing Horizon Forbidden West offline. Like off stream, I mean.
Yeah.
Playing it at my own time. Did you guys do the arena battles at all?
Yes.
I skipped them.
I did the arena battles on very hard, and like, well, actually, everything's on very hard. I just have the whole thing on very hard.
Yeah.
And I want. It's been one of the only times where I wanted to tweet to the devs of a game and tell them how fucking stupid and awful and not fun. Like for people, like I
why are they mad? What is it? Just unfair?
They are so
I'll tell you.
insanely. Yeah, go ahead.
I 100% of the original Horizon, and yeah, there were some difficult parts. There were some very difficult parts, very frustrating, but nothing like this. There's one particular arena battle, with a giant water beast and two other crocodile beasts, whatever. And it is set in an arena where you can't get away from anything, but the mechanic of the game is how easy, like how easily Aloy is knocked over. She is knocked down by any fucking thing that touches her in this fucking game. Any little piece of anything that touches you in this fucking game puts you on the fucking ground.
Is it like a stun? You get stunned?
Sort of.
Okay.
Might as well be.
Yeah.
It puts you on the ground and you have 3 to 4 seconds of getting up. You get knocked down.
And then keep in mind on the difficulty that Zeke and I played on. I also told this on this. Yeah. And the difficulty we played on, each one of those little hits that he's talking about is like, in some cases, 3/4 of your life.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
So, and then you can't recover. And they keep attacking. So, those fights that Zeke's talking about, I did those live on stream. And like, I spent, I think, half an hour on one of them. And when I finally beat it, I barely got bronze. Like, and there's medals.
Oh, they're ranked
and
by like time.
That was the first time when I got off stream, and this was like the time it had come out, and I went to Google it because I was like, I need to see what this looks like when someone beats it, and actually gets gold on this difficulty. I don't believe it. There was not a single YouTube video of anyone beating it on the hardest difficulty at that time. I seriously was like, someone had to have done it. It had to have been done. Not a single video. I'm sure there are now.
That's the true.
Yeah. Oh my god, dude. Oh my god.
Let me tell you not besides the knocking down mechanic, there's a few other awesome things they do to you in the battles leading up to the final. This is on the. There's four sets of 4. This is intermediate. The hardest battle I've ever fought in any Horizon game is in intermediate of the arena. There's still 8 more that I gotta go. So I'm ready. I'm waiting for them to just. But the first 3 battles, you get to use all your equipment and all your skills.
Yep.
The last one, they're like, here's shit you don't ever use. Good luck, fucker.
Yeah, they literally take all the gear that you've gotten throughout the game and they just throw it out the window, and they're like, you have to do it with this gear at like under these time limits.
And don't get me wrong, I don't mind shit being difficult. What I hate is when it's not fun and it is just you getting up from being knocked down over and over again. That's what made me mad. It wasn't. I don't get mad when things are hard. I get mad when things are frustrating and time consuming.
Yeah. Same.
It consumes so much time, and you can get so close, and you just get knocked down. I got knocked down in a row, stun locked by this rotating water thing, no less than 8 times in a row. Get up, get up, get up. Nothing I can fucking do about it. It was awful. Gorilla, if you're listening, fuck that shit. Don't ever do that. You made me very angry.
I think I don't know. I shouldn't say this, but Steven probably worked on an aspect of that. I would imagine. Zeke.
No.
You don't think he did?
Steven, I don't believe he actually did the mechanics of the fights.
Okay. All right. I mean, yeah, I'm not sure his
specific
role.
He was like a step back, bigger picture.
Yeah. So you can yell at Steven. He doesn't work there anymore.
I have 100 something hours in Forbidden West. I love it. I'm 100%ing it. There's definitely some jank and all that kind of stuff. But that's the first time in the game where I was like, this was stupid.
Yeah.
This was a bad choice.
Wow. Real quick, because I know
I was so angry and I needed an outlet, and the only outlet I had is my wife, and she's getting sick of it.
Zeke, I made the best decision here. If you ever need, I have a Discord channel where only people can react to what I say, and it's just called JP Shouts Into the Void. And so every night when I'm playing League off stream, it's just rage. It's just like pages and pages of rage, and no one can react or say anything to me. But it's an outlet. They can see it. They can read it. Yeah. And so I'm just sitting there screaming about random shit, and then people will just react with like a Sag or a Pogger or whatever.
Oh, you can put emote reactions.
Yeah, you can put emote reactions. Yeah.
Okay.
So, someone responded once. I was very upset, and they responded, with the letters, "Are you mad?" question mark. And I was
Which of
like,
course only made it
yeah,
worse.
It only made it worse in the moment. But afterwards, I was like, okay, that's pretty good. That's pretty good.
That's
In like
actually
30
bad.
seconds or less, Zeke, unless it demands a little bit more time
Go
than
ahead.
that, we'll save it. What happened with that Square Enix game?
Oh, did you play it?
Oh, it wasn't it like two things.
Okay.
I didn't want to push it just cause, and it wasn't really that fun.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Fair.
Fair enough.
It was okay.
Yeah.
But I had
Because
I might have continued it if it was like super intriguing or super fun, but it was just kind of okay.
yeah, okay. I tuned in
Uh,
because I was curious what was going on, and you were playing blackjack. I was like, oh, I wonder
Yeah, I
wonder
switched
what
off
happened.
of it.
Yeah.
The game, the Centennial Case, a Shijima Story is the name of the game. It's an FMV murder mystery by Square Enix, and they put out a statement that I read several times, or excuse me, I pretended not to read several times, saying, "Don't stream this game because that sucks if you do." Like that's basically it's like please
Strange.
don't. It's you're forbidden.
Square
But
Enix
these aren't just words. You're right. I'm just saying words to you.
If Yoshi P, we'll see what happens over the next couple of months with Square, but they're saying so much dumb shit recently. They're just out there talking about NFTs and blockchains and selling off companies. And
Selling off awesome companies.
Yeah,
and
it's just
Yeah.
Final Fantasy, and I think they had a bunch of companies had earnings reports. Final Fantasy 14 is like holding that company right now. The only reason they're doing well is Final Fantasy 14. They had like record sales for Endwalker and all that stuff. It's like the lifeblood of Square Enix right now. So, and they're banning people in that game for raiding and using mods. That was a whole deal we didn't even talk about in news, but that's the thing. Let's do some shout outs and call it a show.
That sounds
Zeke,
good.
start us off.
Babylon. Hey, Lisa got Babylon's Fall.
You good? Everybody good? Okay.
Yeah, we're good.
Hi. I'm Ezekiel the Third. You can find me @ Ezekiel_III, Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube. I broadcast every day, usually, except Mondays, starting at 10 a.m. Pacific. I don't really have a thing that I'm doing except for Tuesday. Like, I don't have like a core game, main game that I'm playing right now. But Tuesday, I'm going to start out the show with Nino Cooney. Yeah, no shit.
Wait,
I'm
what?
doing a sponsor. Nino
What?
Cooney. I'm doing a
The
sponsor
first
stream.
one?
No, it's for the new PC release of the mobile game Crossworlds, I think it's called.
Oh,
Oh wow.
okay.
Yeah. Yeah, gonna be doing that on Tuesday. After that, I'm not sure what I'm playing. I saw someone who is really popular content creator playing a game that I haven't played in years, and I kind of like it gave me the bug to play it again. I might try and see how I can get some Def Jam. Right for New York. See how I get that. That hit a nostalgia button for
Someone's
me, but
playing Def
we'll
Jam?
see. We'll see.
Okay.
But yeah, so I'm off tomorrow. I'm off the rest of the day. This is my weekend, my day and a half weekend. So thanks for watching. I'll see you on Tuesday.
Cool. Code. Do some shout outs.
Sure, as always, thank you all so much for watching. My name is Ko. Hi, nice to meet you. I am going to be playing some more Path of Exile tomorrow. Been enjoying this league. We've got more King Arthur coming at you tonight in just about 2.5, 3 hours if you want to check that game out. Then moving into next week, we've got V Rising on Tuesday. I hope it's good. We've got the new Swan Song, Vampire the Masquerade, from the makers of the Council, coming up later in the week. We're going to be returning to Keplerth for the 1.0 release later in the month, and got a lot of other fun stuff coming down the road. So thank you guys as always for watching. Appreciate Zeke and JP the episode, and see you next week, if not before then.
Cool. That will do it. It's good to be back. It was a fun show. We had stuff. Turns out when you don't do a show for 5 weeks, you can talk about things. You just recap everything from the past month.
And with the releases coming out the next month, we will see you next month at the end of the month.
That's correct. We're going to
May
be playing some
25th.
more. DFG plays something next week.
June 25th. Yeah. Oh man. Hey, I'm down. I had a great time with those. I am totally down for more freaking Rock and Stone. Rock and Stone.
We got E3 stuff in June, so we're that.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
There we go.
And
Content, sweet, delicious
the
content.
9th, I guess, is when that all
Not
starts, right?
3 though, right?
Do what?
not technically E3 though.
No, not technically.
Yeah, we should stop calling it that. I guess
It's
it'd be summer game stuff.
that's 20 years of my brain. I'm too old for that.
I saw there was an actual article like last week where they were like, we need to stop calling it E3.
Well, that Polygon article can eat my ass. I'm not doing it. It's E3 in my brain. I can't undo it. I can't undo it. I'm sorry.
Eat his ass.
I'm
He's
not
so
going to type
sassy.
that though because I'll get banned on Twitch for 7 days. I said that on the stream.
Unsolicited sexual advances.
That was
baby.
I didn't type it. Okay, and it was to a company. We can't insult companies anymore. What are we really doing? You know, what are we really doing?
Careful there.
We'll see you next week. Around here.
Oh yeah.
Probably. Well, maybe we'll see you next week. We'll see. Don't tweet it. Tweet at Zeke if you have issues with the show not being on. Only Zeke.
You know what? No. Just tweet at Zeke anyway.
Yeah, just
Ask him how his day is going. See what he's
true.
doing, how he's feeling, how his dogs are doing.
All times.
I guess that's only
Tweet at
fair.
Zeke.
Like I send out all of my hate mail to your fucking business account, go. So
Oh, I know. I know.
your business email. Fuck you. If you don't like it, I'm at.
Oh man. We're out of here. Thanks for watching Drop Frames. We'll see you next week, probably. Bye-bye.